New York has around 19.5 million residents, ranking it as the fourth most populous state in the US. However, a striking 62% of all these people live in just 4% of the state's territory, specifically in the southeastern part, known as New York City. This concentration makes the rest of New York seem quite deserted. One might wonder why upstate New York is not more populated. The state stands out for how a single city, New York City, overwhelmingly dominates it, a phenomenon seen to a lesser extent with Chicago in Illinois. This dominance results in the vast areas of New York feeling empty once you move slightly north of the city, which can be attributed to geographical factors. History. New York, one of the original 13 US states, has often been overshadowed by its namesake city, creating a long-standing rivalry between New York City and the rest of the state since colonial times. Initially, the area was home to various indigenous groups, with the Iroquois Confederacy being especially significant. This confederacy included the Mohawk, Oneida, Onondaga, Cayuga, Seneca, and Tuscarora tribes, who were central to the area's development. The Iroquois stood out for their advanced political and social structures, agricultural and craft skills, in a society that traced lineage and inheritance through the mother's line, which differed greatly from the European settlers' male-dominated society that began arriving in the early 1600s. In 1614, led by Hendrik Christensen, the Dutch established Fort Nassau, now known as Albany, marking the first Dutch and European settlement in what is now New York State. They later founded New Amsterdam in 1624. However, by 1664, the British had taken over New Netherland, renaming it New York and turning New Amsterdam into New York City. A century later, during the American Revolutionary War, New York was a key battleground. The Iroquois Confederacy was split by the war, with tribes like the Mohawk, Seneca, Onondaga, and Cayuga supporting the British, while the Tuscarora and Oneida sided with the American colonists. This division led to severe consequences for the Iroquois, as they lost their lands due to post-war agreements that ignored their rights. In the 1800s, New York became a major economic center in the US. The Erie Canal, built in the 1820s, was a significant achievement as it linked the Great Lakes to the Atlantic Ocean, enhancing trade and immigration. This period saw New York City emerge as the world's first global city, attracting millions of immigrants from Europe and Asia. This influx led to a surge in production, construction, and the economy, making New York City the richest city globally. Nowadays, New York City reflects the diversity of America, with New York City playing a central role despite occupying a small portion of the state's land area. Geography. New York State is known for more than just New York City's famous skyline. It has a wide range of landscapes including mountains, rivers, lakes, and forests, which all add to its diverse environment and geology. The state is divided into several unique areas. The Adirondack Mountains in the northeast are part of the large Canadian Shield and feature through terrain and the state's highest peak, Mount Marcy, at 5,343 feet. This region, filled with forests, wildfire, and water bodies, is great for outdoor activities and supports various species. The Hudson Valley, stretching from Manhattan to Albany, is enriched by the Hudson River. This river is key for trade and transport, and the valley is known for its fertile lands that support farming and rural communities. Central New York is home to the Finger Lakes, a group of long, thin lakes created by glaciers, famous for producing wine due to the special microclimates around these lakes. In fact, New York is the third largest producer of grapes in the US, trailing only behind California and Washington. The Finger Lakes region plays a significant role in the state's water supply, contributing to rivers and the Erie Canal. To the west, New York touches both Lake Ontario and Lake Erie, areas key for business and leisure activities. Niagara Falls, on the border with Canada, is not just a stunning natural attraction, but also an important hydroelectric power source. Although New York might not immediately be seen as a coastal state, it actually has a long coastline, thanks to Long Island, which stretches east from New York City. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration states that New York has about 2,625 miles of coastline, more than New Jersey, Georgia, and Oregon. However, despite its varied geography, most of New York's population is concentrated in New York City, making the state feel underpopulated elsewhere. With 19.5 million residents, New York is the fourth most populous state in the US, but about 62% of its people live in the New York City area, leaving only 38% spread out over the vast majority of the state's land. This unusual distribution of people is quite unique and is influenced by several geographical factors. Simply put, upstate New York has much colder winters and milder summers than New York City, which enjoys a milder coastal climate. For example, Buffalo can have terrible snowstorms because of the lake effect snow, making the northern climate less appealing for settling in the past and still affecting decisions today. On the other hand, when the Dutch founded New Amsterdam, now New York City, its role as a major port and its prime location helped it become a bustling center of trade and immigration, attracting people from all over. This rapid growth in wealth and population contrasted with upstate New York's more isolated and less agriculturally favorable conditions. The Iroquois Confederacy, a strong and complex union of tribes, had control over much of what is today upstate New York. Their well-structured society and military might initially prevented European settlers from moving inland. The Iroquois successfully kept their land and independence for a long time, which held back the spread of colonial settlements in those regions. However, the economic strength of New York City as a worldwide financial hub has been a more significant factor. From the 1800s to 1900s, the city's population skyrocketed, jumping more than 120% from 1.5 million to 3.4 million people between 1890 and 1900. Meanwhile, upstate New York, despite its abundance of natural resources and fertile land, didn't attract the same levels of immigration or industrial growth. Although the Erie Canal did boost some upstate cities, their growth was small compared to New York City's rapid expansion. In recent years, economic reasons have continued to shape where people live. New York City's varied economy, with plentiful jobs in finance, tech, media, and more, draws many new people. On the other hand, upstate New York, despite hosting numerous universities, industries, and tourist spots, hasn't experienced the same economic expansion or job creation, resulting in slower population growth. Currently, New York City is the state's largest city, with around 8.8 million residents. When you count the entire metropolitan area, which extends into parts of New Jersey and Pennsylvania, the population reaches 19.2 million. Buffalo is the next largest, with 1.2 million people, followed by Rochester with 1.1 million, Albany with 900,000, and Syracuse with 650,000. After these cities, the population sizes of metro areas in the state decreases significantly. An interesting fact about upstate New York is its lack of major cities along the St. Lawrence River, a key North American waterway, unlike Canada, which has Montreal, a city of 4.2 million people, just 63 miles downstream from New York. The St. Lawrence River, marking the border between the US and Canada, was important for these activities. However, the boundary it creates has also discouraged the establishment of a significant American city along its shores. During the colonial times and the early years of the United States, there was a lot of tension and fighting between the US and what was then British Canada. This situation made the St. Lawrence River an unappealing choice for settling and growing compared to places more securely inside US territory. Additionally, the area's severe, cold winters made it less welcoming than other parts of the US. The St. Lawrence River also faced competition from the Great Lakes and the Erie Canal for being a center of trade and transport. The Erie Canal, opened in 1825, quickly became a key route, allowing goods to move from the heart of the continent to the Atlantic coast by the Hudson River more directly and affordably. This shift in trade routes led to more development in New York City and along the canal, rather than along the St. Lawrence River. Since Canada controlled the river's mouth at the Atlantic, the US had little incentive to focus on this river in the same manner. Historically, the St. Lawrence River has been crucial for shipping and transport, but Canada has mainly benefited from its strategic importance. Small towns like Massena and Ogdensburg are on the US side of the river, yet they haven't developed into large cities. Without significant changes, it's unlikely these towns will grow much larger. New York State is large in both area and population, but most people have chosen to live in New York City rather than in upstate New York. However, with New York City's recent population decline, there might be a growing interest in moving to more affordable areas within the state. I hope you found the information about New York State and how its people are spread out interesting. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you liked it, please hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. And if you want to check out more videos, you can check out Luxury Xplore. Thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next one.